This year's Culture Club ballot includes 4 managers, 2 executives, and 2 umpires. So the list is just Cito Gaston, he's a manager. Davey Johnson is a manager. Jim Leland is a manager. Lou Piniella was a manager. Hank Peters was an executive. Bill White was an executive. Joe West, Cowboy, the umpire. And Ed
Cowboy Joe.
Montag was also an umpire. Before I ask you the next question, though, Brig, I think it's fascinating. I was looking at Lou Piniella's career
Yeah.
as like a manager and player and stuff like that. I had no idea that when he was with the Yankees, he was named the hitting coach as a player because he was so good at hitting.
I didn't know that either. Seriously?
For reals. That is a real thing that happened. Yeah, I saw that, and that about blew my mind. I couldn't believe that was something that had actually happened. So I thought that was super cool, and it makes sense why his Mariner teams were so good offensively, aside from having Griffey, Edgar, Buhner, those guys. But anyway, so of that group, I don't think that there's any specific limitation as to who can get in, like how many they can vote in. Of those 8, who do you think gets in?
I like Leland. I like Leland, but I might be a familiarity thing there because like I've watched him. He literally managed my entire life so far.
Yeah, no kidding.
He retired at 68 years old in 2013, and he started the year I was born or whatever. Pretty cool. But his overall win percentage is above 500. That's super respectable.
Mm-hmm.
He has a World Series and he has a couple of pennants. Yeah. I don't know. 22 years is a long time. It's respectable for sure. I think we would have to see. I would like to know more about what goes into
what they look for,
a minimum requirement for managers. That's the thing. I don't know.
Right. That's what makes it tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I guess that's why we have the Culture Club.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So for me, like I have Lou Piniella getting in, but I'm obviously super biased, right?
Yeah.
But I think everything that he's done, like he took a team that was mired in mediocrity for 15 years at that point. Finally got them over the hump and into the playoffs. He has a World Series championship in 1990 and almost 2,000 career wins. I absolutely think Lou Piniella gets in. I think Gaston gets in. He's got 2 World Series championships.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Joe West umpired for 43 years. That blows my mind.
Now he is the longest. He's the longest tenured umpire in Major League Baseball history, right? Like he managed more games than anybody in Major League Baseball history, which is bananas.
Which is funny because it's like I'm sure that's where the attitude came from, right? A big part of it was just like, no, sir, and by sir I mean son. I umpired your grandfather, so you go sit down.
Yeah.
And so your great grandfather, in fact. So I think he gets in just out of respect for longevity.
I think so too.
And and this is the thing. Like everybody has their issues. Everybody has their issues with umpires. But the fact that Nelson Cruz took his phone up to the plate with him at the All-Star game to get a picture with Joe West before he retired, I think goes to show just how much respect the players actually have for the guy.
Yeah.
And how good he was at his job for having been around for 4+ decades, right? So I think he will get in. And I don't know enough about the executives. I don't know enough about Hank Peters and who was the other guy on there? Oh, Bill White.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about those guys.
Let me say one last thing about Joe West. Joe West. So this is the part of the Hall of Fame that I really do view as a museum. Is things like this, because you can't tell the story of Major League Baseball over the last little while without he has to be there. Like, he just has to be there. Mm-hmm. And there you go. He set the record at 5,376 games. I don't know how many he umpired beyond that, but
he finished with 5,460.
There you go. 6 World Series crews, 3 All-Star games, 10 League Championship Series, 8 LDSs, League Division Series, and 4 wild card games. And that's incredible. That's what you can't. If we're looking at the Hall of Fame as a museum, you can't tell the story of the recent baseball without talking about Joe West.
Yeah,
especially
right.
even if it's like, oh, I hated that guy, or wow, he had the quickest hook, and he would toss anybody, or whatever we want to say. It's still part of the narrative.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. All right, so I think out of that group, we agree on probably Jim Leyland, Lou Piniella. I don't know. I think Lou Piniella, and I think Joe West. I think those are the guys who get in.
I agree with those.